Hello and welcome. This is Ultimate Virtual. We are here for round 8 of the season, the latest that we've had this particular event occur. It's the Istanbul Park circuit for the Turkish Grand Prix. Just 24 hours ago, our drivers were racing around the overpass of the Palanga Street circuit. Now we're at a much more permanent solution on the border between Europe and Asia. The teams have done remarkably well getting all the way down here and hosting this race just 24 hours later. We have very little standing water on the track. We had cloudy weather, but now the rain is going to come a-pouring back. That makes this qualifying session quite interesting. We don't often have a wet qualifying session, despite the sheer amount of rain that we get normally in the races. However, this is one of them. So, let's take a look just quickly. As we see, the rain's gotten heavier. Will we get any improvements here? We get a few. Caro goes fastest. Interesting. Team Velocity, of course, won the last race at the Palanga circuit. It was second for Pit Crew and third for Somehow I Made It. So, they'd love to continue that little vein of form. Sorry, we'll go right back to this. So, the upgrades for this week. Fox got a grip upgrade, speed upgrade for Neon Sunset Virtual and SFR, and Furia Roja and Pappy Pops Racing. And then it was an acceleration upgrade for Thunder X, double turbo for Porsche, and grip for BFX. That means that it leaves these teams pretty strong cars. You can see the Thunder X still the strongest car, 0.4 ahead of the BFX, which has still really struggled this season, but they do have the most tokens left. Only got 2 races left to spend them though. That should be interesting. Then behind, the Fox car with a pretty pacey car still, and the FVR sort of finally, after quite a high performance in the car index rating so far this season, dropping down to about 4th place. We'll take a look now. A lot of these drivers are coming into the pit lane. This could be really interesting, because these drivers might be the only ones who get time for a actual proper flying lap. You can see the likes of Corvid, Vaporeon, Andres, Anti, Rito, Grandi, Todsod, Suicide, Abva, Urist, Hetmenica, and Pappy, and the likes of Goose, Cato, Bluebell. These front runners, who are running really, really nicely, actually might have this entire qualifying shaken up for them if they can't get a proper flying lap in. Because look at these drivers. By the time, obviously, there's a little bit of improvement because some of these drivers are now on the soft, but they had to come out of the pit lane. By the time that these drivers finish off, you can see our very first runners, Bluebell, will not get to the line in time to start his final flying lap. His outlap will be his last, and I don't think he's going to improve. He certainly doesn't. Goose doesn't. Cato doesn't. Kubo and Pit Crew don't. Shiloh and Fox also can't. What about, though, our soft tyre runners? Andres improves. Anti improves. Grandi, Abva, Todsod, Suicide. Look at these drivers. Big improvements for some of them. Looks like we'll get a bit of a mixed up grid here, but it is Cato in the Team Velocity car that takes pole position at this circuit. Game on Goose will start from the front row. It'll be Kubo ahead of Bluebell, then Vaporeon, Pit Crew, Anti, Abva, Fox, and Shiloh. Team Velocity, we've heard, will run one livery for this qualifying session and another for the race. We'll have to wait and see how that one goes, if they can get their paint job done relatively quickly. The rest of the order, Todsod starts on the 6th row ahead of Somehow I Made It, then Andres, Rito, Corvid, Urist, Suicide, Hetmenica, Grandi, our championship leader, starting from the back row, and Pappy will start dead last. Fascinating to see that. We'll see the token spend now. Cato on pole position spends 3. Goose on the front row spends 3. Kubo starting 3rd spends 2. Bluebell spends 4 starting 4th. Vaporeon spends 3 starting 5th. Pit Crew spends 3 starting 6th. Lots of high token spends here today. Anti spends none, starts 7th. Abva starts 8th with no tokens as well. Complete tokenless row 4 ahead of Fox with 3 and Shiloh also with 3 on the 5th row. fascinating there. Do we have any more that we're yet to mention? Yes, Suicide 17th only with his 3 token spend. That is ridiculously poor for him. Terrible, terrible qualifying performance. Pappy Pops look to be safe and away in the season. Is that still somewhat in doubt? We'll just have to wait and see. Now, what else can I tell you? We'll have a little look at the standings just before we get into this. We can get the driver standings up both in the race by race results and how many tokens they have left. Should roughly correlate. Grandy, 76 points, our championship leader by 25, a race win ahead of Shiloh. Shiloh can close that gap. She spends 3 tokens today, but needs a race win in order to get up there and equal with the Finn in first. Corvid also hanging in there. He's got 2 tokens left to spend the season. Kubo spends his final 2 today. He has finished 7th, which is his only finish that was either not outside of the points or on the podium. Pit Crew in 5th place is a big contender if he can get good points today and good points in Singapore with the 5 tokens that he still has in the tank. This could be 3 podiums in a row for him, maybe his first ever win. Anti and Abva still in with a decent shout of high positions in the championship, respectively only 4 and 7 points off our P2 Las Shiloh. Both have 2 tokens left. Further down it gets a little bit more difficult, but if the likes of Goose can pull off a good result here, he can propel himself right up the order as well. Same with Fox. Right at the back, Andres, after 3 point scoring races in a row, including a season highest finish of 7th, looks to turn fortunes around. He has 4 tokens left to spend. Well, let's see how that goes for him. No driver who's finished last in the standings has ever raced in the next season. Finally, we'll take a look at our Constructors' Championship. Thunder X lead by 23 points over Furia Roja. These teams look to be in a little fight of their own, but Furia Roja have dropped back with the results from Pit Crew and Grandy in the last race. 23 points they are away. Neon Sunset Virtual move up to 3rd ahead of Fox Oversteer at the moment. Velocity 5th ahead of Flying V Racing and SFR Maserati. After their win last time out, can Caddo replicate it, bring back-to-back wins for the team? A win for the team just like they had in Season 2. We'll wait and see. Happy Pops look to be safe, perhaps, unless Porsche can put in a really good end to the season. They're only 9 points ahead of BFX themselves. Pappy Pops Porsche desperately need some points, any points, to dig themselves out of this hole. That is all for now. We'll get into the racing action. Here we go. We're underway for the Turkish Grand Prix. It's a wet start here. Goose puts the pressure on Caddo immediately. They're all on intermediate tyres. No differential at the start here. Bluebell gets through on Kubo, Vaporeon and Pit Crew. Fox and Abba still together. They made up a couple positions at the start. Goose going for the lead of the race. Takes the lead of the race off Caddo. He'll have to fight for that one all the way down into the final corners. Caddo nearly sideways as Bluebell charges into the side of him. Sends it at the final corner. Caddo from pole position down to 3rd in only a lap, the opening lap no less. Bluebell really on the back of Goose now, putting the pressure on the Canadian driver. Pit Crew and Fox looking to cause the Frenchman behind all sorts of problems, but it's a brilliant switchback from Caddo. Pit Crew up the inside of turn 8 has the bravery. Fox gets the exit too. Caddo now down to 5th. Kubo and Vaporeon right behind. Vaporeon was starting up high, went down a couple positions, made that back up. Now he's in 6th position. All of these drivers into the pit lane on the end of lap 2. Nobody risking it going out on a slick tyre at the race start. Every single driver opted instead for an intermediate. Bluebell on the softs leads the race. He's looking for his 2nd ever race win, potentially, if he can go and grab one today. His first, of course, back in Interlagos all the way back in Season 2. Pit Crew gets a good move on Goose there. Fox also looking to absolutely charge through. Pit Crew putting the pressure on the Canadian drivers. He's in a bit of a maple sandwich at the moment. Goose going to the outside into turns 1 and 2, does get that move done. He's up into 3rd position. Caddo down to 5th as discussed. Kubo back through on Vaporeon. Shiloh up there, somehow made it, has made up a few places. Anti has lost 6 from his starting position on the grid. Grandy has made 7. That's incredible. These drivers started 12 positions apart. Look at the starts that they've had. Incredible to see. Right up at the top, Bluebell still leads from Fox. Caddo has closed in on Goose in that brilliant bright blue Team Velocity paint job for this race. We'll give you the lowdown on that in just a second. But Pit Crew right behind these two. Caddo at the inside into the hairpin. Goose can't get the switchback done. Caddo just bumps wheels with him. Pit Crew opportunistic as ever up the inside. He's really looking at it this race, Pit Crew. Back-to-back podiums, potentially for him. He's going to make that happen if he possibly can. Goes through into 3rd place now. Right. Somehow made it. Leaves Vaporeon and Kubo at the moment. Kubo on the mediums. Vaporeon also on the mediums. The Neon Sunset driver having the upper hand on that occasion. Shiloh in the points. Grandy now in the points as well. Incredible start from the Thunder X driver to make up that many positions in such little time. Todd Sod gets through on Advert there to 12th place. Rito. Then Suicide made up 3 positions from the grid. Not quite as good as he was hoping for. This might be a bit of a tactical blunder for the Pappy Pops team with him starting so low, spending so many tokens. If they can only come home with a couple points, it won't be good enough. Eurist, 17th, Pappy, then Hetmanica. Andrews right at the very back as his teammate leads the way, about to lap him. Well, not right now, but not too far away either. We'll bring that to you when it does happen, because it's not rare. I mean, it is rare that we have the entire field in a single team sandwich. Pit Crew has passed Fox up into 2nd. He is driving like a man possessed, and this man is possessed with the passion of trying to win a race for the first time in his career. Goose is behind Caddo now. Caddo back up into 4th place. We'll take a closer look at that Velocity livery. It's bright blue with the black engine cover and rear wing, front wing as well. Very stark colours. This is a livery directly inspired by, if not taken from, the Bugatti Formula 1 team that ran in the 2024-2025 seasons, of course. And James Lupin, who was a star driver for the team, race winner on multiple occasions. Caddo apparently a boyhood fan, the young Frenchman was, of the French driver in Formula 1 at the time, before that series unfortunately shut down at the end of the 2020s. However, the memory of that Bugatti team lives onwards through Caddo and Team Velocity running this livery today. He finds himself up in 2nd place now. Goose 3rd, Bluebell 4th. He's just come into the pit lane. This will be very well timed rain. Pit Crew didn't have much of that last race. Somehow made it. Eurus did. That's why he won. Pit Crew always had to be there or thereabouts on pace alone. And unfortunately, that doesn't really win you races in cases like yesterday. Caddo now into the pit lane. Soft tyres coming off the car. Mediums going on. He's going to get passed by Shiloh. Hopefully comes out ahead of Vaporeon and Kubo, and he does, into a nice little pocket of space. Should be able to just run those tyres a little bit now. Kubo defending from Vaporeon all the while. Vaporeon has had a poor season so far, a poor rookie season. Being very good actually in helping the Porsche team with their operations, taking over large parts of their responsibilities for things like upgrades. But actually, the car's not been good enough, and neither of the performances so far this season. If we take a quick look, 18th in the standings, 2 7th place finishes to his name. One of them was a pole position indeed, so that is quite something. But unfortunately, nothing to really call home about. That was not an amazing start from him. He's down in 9th place now, just having come into the pit lane. Kubo in 8th on those mediums, somehow made it through into 7th. He's had a pretty good start. He's spending tokens here today, and he's spending quite a few of them as well. If we pop it up, going from top to bottom, Bluebell Boy spends 4 tokens, our only 4 token spender. Then we have 8 3-token spenders, which is incredible to see. Fox, Vlad, also known as Somehow I Made It, Pit Crew, Game on Goose, Vaporeon, Kado, and Shilo, and Suicide as well. And then our only 2-token spender is Kubo. So yeah, really quite something. Let's check in on our token spenders actually, if we can. So I made it coming up to lap Hetmenica, Fox out in the lead, Bluebell now in second. Fox on those soft tyres, looks like he was able to get past Bluebell after their second pit stops. Pit Crew behind on very fresh mediums. He has a very good chance at doing something here. So all of these drivers, Fox has, I believe, only 2 race wins to his name. Bluebell just won, Pit Crew never having won a race in his long Ultimate Virtual career. He has a very good car under him at the moment, but he has had in the last couple of seasons too. So it's difficult really to predict, will this finally be the season for him to take a race win? And if he does take a race win, could that even lead him on to a World Drivers' Championship? It might be unlikely, as we see Bluebell right around the outside of Fox there, and his teammate Abva a lap down, not really doing him many favours, but does give him a little nudge, and that nudge is enough to push him back past the Fijian driver, back up into first place. Interesting. Fox leads once more. So Pit Crew, yeah, he's had a long career in the sport. Since the start of Season 2, he's, oh, look, back goes Bluebell into the lead. Fox actually looking for the up and under, can't make that work there. Has to just settle in for second at the moment. He's going to be under pressure from his best mate and his countryman Goose as he goes round the outside, takes the wider line through the kink of turn 9. Does very nicely, not turn 9, but like turn 11 or something. Get the position there. Fox into the first pit box, the pit box of the reigning Constructors Champions there, and he will come out in 4th place under pressure from the Bugatti liveried Kado. A lap ahead of his teammate at this point, but he has a little bit of tyre wear, and despite a good performance in qualifying, it looks less likely for him to be able to take the race win here today, judging on this early performance. Somehow made it looking pretty up in 6th place. We'll return to the tokens now. You've seen them the whole time, of course. 4-token Bluebell is in the race lead. There isn't much surprise about that. Then we have Goose spending 3 tokens. Pit Crew, so let's look at those who aren't indeed. Kubo spending 2 tokens is in 9th. Then we have non-token spenders below largely. The real aberration, Suicide, spending 3 tokens here today. P14 at the minute, not good for him. But we do have our 10 token spenders out today. So interesting. That would be Grandy, the only tokenless top 10 running driver at the moment. All the rest, Pit Crew, Fox, Goose, Kado, Somehow I Made It, Vaporeon, Shiloh, all running 3 tokens, Kubo running 2. So that does make sense. Aside from Suicide's relative lowly 15th position, and he does have to pit soon as well. So really not going the way of the Pappy Pops team at the moment. Bluebell out in the race lead, then Pit Crew, Fox and Goose, Kado lapping his teammate Urist, Shiloh up in 6th position now, Vaporeon, and then Somehow I Made It. Grandy now ahead of Kubo, who with his 2 tokens is down to 10th, not quite the race-winning form that he had at this circuit in previous seasons. He's looking to unlap himself from Bluebell. He has, of course, just come into the pit lane, so it does make somewhat sense why he's dropped down. Vaporeon, a few tenths back from Shiloh. He was now a little bit further back and into the clutches of Somehow I Made It. We'll take away those tokens for the time being, and we'll just take a look at our race lead, actually. As Somehow Made It goes through there. Pit Crew looking really spicy for a little move on Bluebell, who's not pitted in quite a long time. He's carried those hards quite far, and you do hope that he will be into pit lane probably this lap, because those are pretty browned out hard compound tyres. It will be difficult seeing him taking them much further unless he does come in. Our race leader now is Pit Crew. Bluebell in for the stop. Where will he emerge? We've got the third place runner of Fox sweeping through turn 1 at the moment, and does take that position. Second place at the moment, it's orange cars 1 and 2 here in Istanbul. Bluebell running third, right ahead of Goose now, who did come in a few laps ago for new hards and seems to have closed up to our net race leader as a result. Shut up into fifth, ahead of Cato now, has fallen to sixth under pressure from Somehow I Made It. It was a really good run on the softs. Can he go to the outside, coming to turn 9, keeps it single file, but then through the kinked right-hander, put the boost down and take that position. Cato down into 7th position at the moment, a bit of a curse on the pole sitter not being able to deliver the goods when push came to shove. Vaporeon 8th place at the moment, very old hards for him as well. Goose closing in on Bluebell though, that's interesting to see, but as I say that, he drops well back. Pit Crew into the lane, comes out presumably in 4th position. It now looks like there is a battle of these top 4. Fox, I think, will still come out in 4th when he does pit after a good few laps. Somehow Made It, trying to close that gap. The 8 seconds between himself and the car ahead is just quite a difficult one to manage. Further down, whoopsie, that's the wrong way. Further down, we have Shiloh in 5th, Caddo trying to lap his countryman at the moment. Suicide not really making way. Vaporeon in 8th, Kubo in 9th. We'll take a look at some of the strategies, but first, actually, we'll have a look at the standings for this season, what the repercussions can be of this race as it stands. Fox with a race win here. Not that he's looking guaranteed for it, of course. Bluebell really close behind him now, going to get right up his chuff through this first sector, getting very tight knit in there. Andrews will sandwich Bluebell and Fox. Fox right in the middle of a big old pink sandwich there, and that just allowed Bluebell half a chance up the inside. He's not taken it, and he will have to try again. There's 20 laps left to run here, there or thereabouts. And, oh, look, it's a big bash on the back end of Eurist for Fox, who now does get past the Portuguese driver. But this is a great fight out in the lead of the race. Can't take our eyes off it at the moment. And he just slightly misses the back of him. Bluebell gets a good run through turn 8. By the time they get out of the corner, it gets the power down. Bluebell is your new race leader. This would put BFX, a team that has the second best car and has had for large parts of the season the second best car, and really should be performing like it, as Eurus and Anti battling. Goose and Fox also going at it, but at about 14 positions higher each of them. Fox now through in second place. Goose gave him a bit of a fright there. Shiloh is in to pit lane, but Pit Crew now has gone past Goose. Incredible that. Goose was in second place just a second ago. Pit Crew really going up through here. Sends a very late dive bomb, but really makes that work. Fox didn't have the grip to respond on incredibly old hard compound tyres. Pit Crew on the mediums, good bit of grip underneath him. So confident on the brakes and was able to get that move done. Full credit to him. Caddo now runs in 5th. He is 15 seconds back on the runners just ahead. Somehow I Made It runs in 6th. This is its own little battle here. Caddo ahead of Somehow I Made It, Shiloh, and then Vaporeon a few seconds back, looking to get in there, looking to get his first top 6 finish in his career. It's not been amazing for him and for the Porsche team. Particularly poor was Hetmenica, spending 2 tokens for only 1 point yesterday. But Vaporeon, I think, spent 2 tokens earlier in the season for the return of no points. Their points per token very much in the mud this season. Porsche looking surefire favourites to go down. We were always certain that despite BFX having really poor championship standing, the car and the number of tokens left would bail them out. That's never a given. but you can put a nice bet on it. Pit Crew up the inside at the start of turn 8, gets that move done, back into the race lead. So what would this mean in the standings? A Pit Crew win would see him pick up currently 26 points actually. That would put him all the way up on 74, just 2 points behind his teammate, as we see Bluebell Boy coming into the lane or track where he comes out. A Bluebell win would not do much for the championship. At the moment, currently every driver can still win it. Even Andres, with 3 race wins in a row from now till the end of the season, could mathematically take it. I think this race will count quite a lot of people out of contention. Certainly those below Bluebell in the standings who aren't scoring points, the likes of Pappy probably out altogether, Hetmenica as well, and of course Andres. Vaporeon, if he can manage a good few points here today, won't be, but otherwise I think looks to be. Somehow may just stay in contention for another day. Bluebell in second place at the moment, so a win for him would take him up 25 points to 52. That would actually currently put him second in the standings, which is incredible, but so many drivers spending tokens here today that you'd see a few more shuffle up before him in the standings. But it is pretty crazy looking at it that Bluebell Boy, who is 16th in the standings, only a race win away from being second. That is the closeness of the mid-pack here in Ultimate Virtual. A Goose win, not looking entirely likely at the moment. He's sitting in third place. That would put him in somewhat of a shout, actually, if he would get up to 66 points. If that FVR car can get some crucial speed before the end of the season, take home a good performance in Interlagos, just as they did at the end of Season 3, with Jaruni taking a race win. Pit Crew comes out of the pit lane. Goose just sneaks through there, though. And that is pretty important. He's going to try and keep the Brazilian behind for the time being. Goose, though, on older softs. Pit Crew raring, fresh, brand new soft compound tyres. It seems only a matter of time before he can get ahead of him here, going into the kinked right-hander. He very much does so. Finally, a Fox win. Fox actually underperforming in the championship so far this season, definitely compared to last season, with 4th and 5th in the standings for the Fox boys. Abba's still there or thereabouts. He's 7th, but Fox down in 10th. A race win will put him on 62 points, which would put him obviously second, but also in with a fair shot if they can really get some good results at the very end of the season. For a lot of these drivers, these are their final tokens. We'll follow the race again for the final 10 laps. Bluebell leads a few seconds ahead of Pit Crew. Goose a second behind. This looks to be our podium unless Fox has something to say about it. Strategy going to the end. Pit Crew are much fresher softs than either of Goose or Bluebell. Pit Crew could be on for his first win. Bluebell could be on after an incredible time that he's had in this sport. He drove for Flying V Racing, the team that Goose owns and drives for now, competing directly against him. Former teammates in Season 1. In Season 2, he got his own team, was owner driver for BFX. They won the Constructors. He was second in the championship, barely over Kubo, and secured that with a finale victory, the only victory of his career. He went to Team Velocity for the next season, became the final team owner to drive for another team as he comes in for his final pit stop of this race. Season 4 saw him off the grid, going off to race touring cars and grand touring cars and all that like. Season 5, back with his newly promoted and ever-beloved Kolos Tvorza, couldn't keep them up. Season 6, once again, 4 seasons later, finds himself in the driving seat of a very quick car, a car that has underperformed not just this season, but last one as well. A race win would mean the world to him and the team in baby pink and blue. Fox into the pit lane, his last stop. Mediums go on. He only has to take those 8 laps to the checkered flag. Goose on his final set of softs. Bluebell on his mediums. Pit Crew on his softs. They were much fresher than the car ahead and behind him, and that is why he's going to be able to extend them a little bit further, but shouldn't be extending them too far. Coming in with 5 or 4 laps to go would compromise his strategy and not give him enough time on fresh tyres to make that gap back up. It is anyone's game for the podium and for the race win here. Truly, it could be something. Pit crew still in first position as it stands. Bluebell in second. Third place for Goose. Pit crew now into the lane. The race will pretty much end as soon as the winner crosses the line. So the fight for the top spot will be all important, coming right down to the line. For those behind, the race will be a ticking clock as to when that driver does finally finish. Goose is just behind pit crew now. He has a severe tyre disadvantage, but if he can make an overtake here, he might just be able to do the magic and hold on. Season 2, it was a great Goose v Jake v Kubo fight for the win in the very final laps. Kubo unfortunately nowhere to be seen here today. This was the wrong track to spend 2 tokens on. So many 3 token spenders, and he has expectedly been shuffled down into 9th position. Comes in for his last stop of the race, looking to take softs to the end. Bluebell with a lot of traffic though. They're going to be right on the apex of turn 9 as he tries to go 3. Just barges through on somehow. I made it. Pit crew came in. He's now just a second behind the Fijian driver. We have only 4 laps left in this race. It could go either way here in Istanbul. Pit crew second still. Goose third. Fox chasing after him. He's got the fresher medium tyre, but they are slightly slower. That is something to keep in mind. But these are our big fights here. We could get the entire top 4 pretty much finishing within that final 5-second countdown timer. Pit crew really looking promising here. Can he finally? Oh, he massively understeers through the final corner. It looked like he might have been able to get a move going there. It doesn't look like he'll be able to get one going right now, unless he can go right up the inside of Bluebell here. But Bluebell can fight back. Does Pit crew have the superior drive around the outside of turn 8? Bluebell tries to cover him off and does cover him off. Pit crew inside to turn 9, gets the run down the straight there. And he does get himself in the third to last lap into the lead of the race as he finishes off with just 2 left to run. This could be his first ever victory in Ultimate Virtual. So many times the bridesmaid, never the bride for this Thunder X driver. This would be an absolutely enormous result for him. It would take him just 2 points off his teammate and pretty much only championship rival Grandy, but Bluebell looks to fight back here. He's deployed all of his turbo going down that straight to see if he can have one final go there, but he messes up the last couple corners. They're so grip dependent. It's so difficult to get them right. And the fresher soft may look to avail against the older medium tyre. Bluebell won once. He looked so promising for a second race win of his career today, but that BFX car is about 0.4 behind the Thunder X in car index. That may have made all the difference here today. Pit crew, as he comes through, the final winner for the very first time is a race winner in Ultimate Virtual and ignites a championship flame. 2 points between the Thunder X boys now. Bluebell will finish second on the track. Third for Fox at the end. He did grab that off Goose on the very old soft compound tyres. It is a podium for the man slightly underperforming in the championship. That boosts him up a few positions. Goose will take the points for 4th. Caddo in his Bugatti livery. 5th place for the Frenchman. Shiloh will finish in 6th for Furia Roja. 7th for Somehow I Made It. And 8th for Vaporeon. The bottom of the 3 token spenders was the Porsche driver, and that team's worries only deepen. 9th was Kubo again. He'll not be too pleased with 2 points for 2 tokens. This was the wrong track to gamble on that. And Grandy does get back into the points as he was in Palanga. Tokenless 10th place. A great drive from the back row of the grid. Todsod takes 11th for Flying V Racing ahead of Suicide in 12th. Then it's Corvid ahead of Rito. Abva, then Andres, Urist, Anti, Hetmenica, and Pappy. Last of the runners. Our fastest lap holder was Bluebell. What an enthralling race. What an enthralling end to the season is in store for us. Pit crew didn't take the fastest lap, which would have put him within 2 points of Grandy, as it is 3 points back, and never discount a single point in Ultimate Virtual. That was the difference between Grandy winning or not winning the championship back in Season 4. He scores another point here today, speaking of, so it will be a 4-point gap. 77 for Grandy, 73 for Pit Crew. 2 races left, neither have any... Oh, sorry, Pit Crew has 2 more tokens. Grandy does not. This really could be his year. Wow. We'll see you in just a few days for the final tokened race of the season, the Singapore Grand Prix, our penultimate round. Until then, bye-bye.